following program is paid for and presented by John DeMasi. The opinions expressed are not those of Town Square Media or station advertisers.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now, the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Happy holidays. Yes, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Did I get them all in? Okay. This is our final show of the year, our holiday show, and we're going to go out with a bang, like we do every year. Okay. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. And as always, the number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. If you want to call today, that's the time to do it because we're not going to do a show till next year.
How are you, bud?
I can't believe it. Another year has gone by. Where did the time go? It just flies by, continues to fly by. A lot to talk about today for our final show of 2023. We're looking forward to another banner year next year, of course, and need we say that it will be a significant year, with the presidential election and hopefully a change in the White House. By the way, we're in a holiday spirit. Today, I'm going to give away, and you've heard Seth Grossman talk about this, I have in my hand 10 Liberty and Prosperity calendars, and we'll give them away later on in the show. And also a $50 gift certificate to BF Mazzio. Whoa. No, you're not eligible, Chris. Yeah. He thought he was eligible. He'd get $50, but we'll compensate him in other ways. Okay. But that's on the agenda today. A lot to talk about here, but I wanted to, I kind of have some random thoughts, being that it's the final show of the year and it's the holidays and so on. Speaking of the White House, and I'll get to that in a moment, I have several thoughts to open up the show today, and I'll attempt to kind of put them all together for you. First of all, I was shopping for the grandkids the other day, and I always think about this, especially this time of year and when I'm shopping for the grandkids. What kind of a world will they grow up in? And when they're adults, what will this world look like? I mean, think about that. Right now mine are 7 and 8 and 11, so it's, not much now, but when they're adults, what kind of a world are they going to grow up in? And I thought about this. Let's look around at the issues. First of all, anti-Semitism, and Seth will probably talk about this, but anti-Semitism is seemingly at an all-time high. It's like, didn't we live through this 80 years ago? You know the guy in Germany, of course. The other day, there was a protest in Philadelphia. They stopped traffic. I couldn't believe this because the people were protesting for Palestine. And I thought about this and I said, wait a minute, how could that be? People protesting over terrorists. And that's what they are, terrorists. I mean, this is plain and simple what it is. It's like the old days when you were, rooting for the lions against the gladiators. This is unbelievable. So I just don't believe. So that's the first thing. I don't believe how you can support terrorism. That's number one. Then I paid $2.99 a gallon for gas. Now you're thinking, well, what's that have to do with the other thing? I asked the attendant. I said, "Is that right? $2.99 for gas?" And he said, yeah, like I had two heads. But the point is that this leads me to the point of look around. Look around. And, yeah, the gas is low. The stock market is high. And now people might say, oh, well, yeah, I guess things are good. I guess Biden's doing a good job. Okay. This makes for... Can't get rid of this thing in my throat, but it makes for a tougher job, in my opinion, and that's why I've said this, and we'll say it a lot next year. Trump would do a better job as president, but people, they're complacent, and a lot of people don't really know what's going on. So is $2.99 a gallon of gas and the stock market hitting an all-time high? And, jobs are good. And does that mean we may get Biden reelected? I hope not. So we got to continue that fight. What kind of a world is the theme here of what our grandkids are looking for in the future? And then this is the pièce de résistance, as they used to say. The University of Pennsylvania president was forced to resign last week after she told Congress it's a context-based decision. Do you agree with genocide? Which, listen, they should have taught her, for all her education, they should have taught her Public Relations 101. How do you answer a question like that? And certainly, she didn't know how to answer that. But the point is that she was forced to resign. Liz McGill, president of Penn, is white. The president of Harvard is black. The president of Harvard said the same thing when the same question was asked of her. But she didn't resign. In fact, 600 people signed a petition to keep her on. Where was the support for Liz McGill? She's got to resign. Not a peep about the president of Harvard. And we've talked about this before. The double standard. And will that hurt our grandchildren? That's the question I have. That will probably, let's face it. There's no qualification sometimes when these people get these positions. They just get them because, they fit the bill, minority, women. Oh, yeah, okay. And maybe they're not cut out to be president of a university. But the white one resigns, the black one gets 600 people to sign a petition. So what's wrong with this picture? And that's why I say, with all these things that I've mentioned, what kind of a world, and we're all happy and we're all saying Merry Christmas and all of that stuff, and that's nice. But come January, we got to face these things again. And really, what kind of a world will my grandchildren live in? And I just hope somehow that it gets straightened out. We'll see. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi, and we bring in the one and only Seth Grossman. Seth, Liberty and Prosperity, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Well, a good way to think of the kind of America we want to give our grandchildren is to look at the America that our grandparents and parents gave us. And that's why that teaching calendar that we've been handing out lately is so important. we had 2,800 of those calendars. We only have 100 of them left. So you have basically 10% of the calendars.
Yes.
And we've been mailing them to Michigan, to Tennessee. People have been really thanking me for coming up with such a great Christmas gift. And, we're asking for $2 donations, but if someone has a good home for a calendar where someone's going to read it, especially if they're under 20 years of age, please do everything we can to just get them in the right hands. As far as anti-Semitism is concerned, I had a long talk with Harry on Thursday about what is causing this, this just explosion of anti-Semitism, which is just hatred of Jews for being Jews. And one of the biggest problems is not recognizing that the anti-Semitism today is not at all what the Democrats, what Jewish establishment leaders like the ADL and the Anti-Defamation League and the Stockton College professors, it's nothing at all what they are telling us to be, to look for and to fight against. And that big lie is that anti-Semitism is a product of right-wing, conservative ignorance and hatred. Now, there's some of it, but the real truth is that this whole left-right continuum is total garbage, and it's taught as fact in our schools. That tells you, the communists, the extreme communists on the left are Chairman Mao in North Korea, and the extreme right is Adolf Hitler and the KKK. When the truth is that you really have an American way of looking at the world and a socialist European way of looking at the world. And the American way of looking at the world is to love your neighbor as yourself, Bible-based, Benjamin Franklin, that if you want something in life and you don't have it, you work harder, you think of ways to change your life, you deal with other people, and you take advantage of opportunities that are there. And there's a whole book, Steve Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, tells you how to do that. The opposite of that is the socialist way, which is if there's something in your life that you're unhappy with, that you don't like, you wish you had more, blame it on somebody else. Be angry at somebody else for having more than you have, and try to get even with them. And that started with the French Revolution. It started with then it continued with the Communist Manifesto. And really, socialism and anti-Semitism are both related because they're both based on the idea that instead of being a deadly sin, that envy is a virtue. You're entitled to things. Somebody took something from you. Somebody took something from your ancestors. The Palestinians, Hamas, socialists, Black Lives Matter. It's all the same thing, saying that envy is somehow a virtue, or that you can excuse it. And that's one thing we talked about on Harry Hurley on Thursday. But the other thing, Harry said, well, are Jews finally waking up and learning about how they've been deceived by the left? Are they now figuring things out? And I have to be discouraged. The day after I did that program with Harry, we had a breakfast, the weekly bagel and coffee breakfast at the High Rise in Atlantic City that I live in. And we had, 3 nice couples, Jewish couples from Philadelphia, all Democrats. And they couldn't care less of what's going on as far as immigration or, the takeover of our universities for this hatred. All they were talking about was abortion, gay marriage, and how bad Trump was. And they don't want to hear about anything else. So I don't, and these are my fellow Jews. I don't know how to reach them, but maybe we could talk about that and figure out what to do. Wow.
What did you say when they said they didn't really care less about anything but, abortion? How did you answer that?
I was flabbergasted. I just tried to say, there are other things going on in the world. I try to talk about, that the whole abortion issue, it's not really that men trying to control women like the Handmaid's Tale. It's really about most of the pro-life movement, as we talk about often, is led by women in their 30s who had abortions and regret it. And it's really the men who are for abortions because they want to get out of paying child support. So but it was just a conversation. I didn't want to ruin the breakfast, so I just moved on to other things. But I was just, it's a long battle. Once people get these ideas in their head, it's very tough for people to realize they've been wrong, they've been fooled, and it's going to be a painful process of deprogramming. So that's what we do every week at Liberty and Prosperity Breakfast from 9:30 to 10:30 at Sal's. We have these discussions because all of us have friends and relatives who think that way, and we try to think of ways to reach them. So that's one thing going on. Other things going on, random stories. Of course, we have the road diet is now screwing up Atlantic Avenue in Atlantic City.
Oh, boy.
The way it already screwed up Atlantic Avenue in Margate, Longport, and the way it screwed up West Avenue in Ocean City. You have these federal officials just hate fossil fuels. They hate automobiles. They want to make it as difficult as possible to use a car to get from one place to another. And that's what they're doing. The local officials are so used to getting the federal government to pay to fix their roads that if the federal government tells them to do something, they just go along. You also have the Atlantic County Utilities Authority pushing this woke climate agenda. But the problem is the ACUA, it's run by conservative Republican county executive and commissioners, but yet they're pursuing that radical left agenda anyway. That's a problem. They're having their free newspaper that they throw out every month telling all the wonderful things they're doing, which is pure propaganda, and we should not be letting them get away with it. That's something we'll talk about. Something that just came up, that's our latest post in our Liberty and Prosperity website, is about that new Atlantic Care LGBTQ Care Center. Have you heard much about that?
No, I haven't.
Well, it was their big story, but it was not in the local papers, but it's online everywhere, and we posted it to our Liberty and Prosperity site. So they had a big event to celebrate their 250th patient. And what Atlantic Care did, it set up this LGBTQ plus center right at the Stockton University campus in Atlantic City. And they're celebrating, again, having their 250th patient. And here and what's clear about it is that they're not really treating the disorder. They're really promoting business to create diseases. So it's promoting new businesses. It's targeting children, adolescents, and students. And it's using a new definition. They say we're not going to call it gender identity disorder anymore. If a boy says he wants to be a girl, or a girl says she wants to be a boy, they're now calling it gender dysphoria. And the preferred treatment for this dysphoria is permanent chemical and drug treatments, meaning castration for boys, surgery to remove breasts from women. All this treatment is paid with taxes and mandatory health insurance rate increases. And because they promote the idea of doctor-patient confidentiality, this can be done to children and Stockton students without the parents having any idea that this is going on.
Boy,
so, I'm just flabbergasted reading this. And I don't want to comment because I don't know that much about the details. I'm just basing my knowledge on the press release they did to celebrate this new center being open for 2 months. You know, the fact that that the center is in Stockton University, so it's targeting young people.
Oh boy!
And when you start connecting the dots, you sort of see why we have Obamacare. 15 years ago, Obama and the Democrats pushed to completely change our health insurance system, even though it was working for 95% of Americans. But they blew up the whole system, gave us this massive, more expensive federal government insurance. And when you say, well, why did they do it? I think it's now obvious. They wanted to give free medical care to illegal immigrants and free sex change operations. So why are transgenders so important? We'll be talking about this, but my theory is it all started with Jesse Jackson and his Rainbow Coalition in the 1980s. And that was a plan to break Americans into different groups who don't trust each other so that radical left Democrats could take control. So we had black militants, Hispanic militants, Muslim immigrants, feminist militants, and now we have transgenders. And how convenient, because that's the only way white boys can be part of this protected group of victims. You make them transgender, and then they're a victim, without having to be black or Hispanic or something. It's a very sick way of dividing people, but I really think that's what they're up to.
Oh man, that is a scary thought.
But it's so mainstream. And by the way, how does Atlantic Care get people into this center for LGBTQ plus to be channeled into it? Well, if you go to Atlantic Care now for anything, you have a cold, you'll be asked to fill out this complicated questionnaire asking about sexual preference and this and that.
Jeez.
So they're looking for people to say that. And let's face it, this almost reminds me when I was a teenager and I was insecure and I didn't want to be Jewish. I thought my nose was too big. I was unpopular. I wanted to be somebody I'm not. So when you have teenagers, they're very, very vulnerable. Very often they're not accepted, and very often teenagers who are not accepted, instead of looking for ways to understand that they're jerks in this world, they say, well, there's something wrong with me. I have to change me. And this could be a psychological thing. But instead of looking at that way, it's like the healthcare system has a political agenda to steer vulnerable kids into this irreversible course of action. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, but I think this affects everybody, and we'll be talking about that.
Oh boy, that is very scary, very scary.
So but meanwhile, on something else, last week I talked about Bible study and how Microsoft Windows, every time you turn it on, the Start program steers you to the top news stories, and every week there are 3 or 4 stories bashing Christianity, bashing the Bible. Today, most young Americans, the only thing they know about the Bible are sort of passages taken out of context that show that people who in the Bible were hateful, intolerant people. But there was a time when everyone who was Jewish, Christian, any denomination was familiar with these Bible stories. They brought us together, and I just thought I'd mention that this week in every Jewish synagogue, we were doing the story of Joseph and his coat of many colors. Now, you and I probably know that story. Anyone under the age of 30 would have no idea what we're talking about.
Right.
But when you read that book of Joseph, it really goes against the whole woke narrative of racism and feminism that is taught to our kids every day. And I don't know how many of your listeners remember the story, but it starts out that Joseph, who's a Jew, and he's sold into slavery. And who sells him into slavery? Not people of another race, not people of another religion, not people from another nation. He's sold into slavery by his own brothers because they're jealous of him. And that, when you learn stories like that, you could relate to the psychology that it's not, good and evil is not that there's a class of oppressors and a class of victims. There's good and evil in each individual, and we have to learn to recognize that. And so that's one element of the Joseph story. The other element, of course, kids today are taught that all women are victims of sexual harassment and control by patriarchal men. And whenever there's a claim of rape or sexual harassment, we're told to believe all women. Now, of course, the Bible story of Joseph, Joseph is a slave in the master's house, and the wife, is trying to seduce Joseph. So, of course, Joseph is loyal to the master. He rejects the wife of his master, and she's angry, and she falsely accuses him of trying to rape her, and Joseph is arrested and thrown into prison. So here you have a Bible story talking about things that happen and have been going on for thousands of years. But yet, I think now you see the real reason why they don't want any kind of Bible discussion or Christianity, because it gets people to think about things and put things in context and not swallow whatever political narrative they're teaching to our kids. So I thought I'd mention that.
Well, you certainly have an agenda today.
Okay. And just two things going on. I'd like to mention the Ocean City Sentinel. It seems every week they're talking about the need to have the government buy up land to create open space. Like that's going to protect us from to preserve nature. And it sounds like a good idea, but what's really happening is we're having too many people pour into New Jersey with these illegal immigrants, and that's what's making things overcrowded. So if you don't deal with the immigration and your solution is you're going to buy up all this land, all you're going to do is we're going to be just as crowded, but you're going to be making everything expensive, but you're not going to be dealing with the real problem. So the real problem is immigration. We've got to stop it. It's illegal. For 50 years, from 1920 to 1965, we had limited immigration to 100,000 per year, and it worked. It allowed every immigrant who came to America had, learned English, adopted our culture, and we had a wonderful country. Right now, all we're doing is we're importing what we call the third world, and we're turning ourselves into a third world country, and we're not really, making things better by having people turn America into the country they're running away from. But we have to face up to that reality. And I guess the final point, and it's an interesting thing coming out of Israel. It's very depressing. The war is now going on to its third month, and Israel appears to be serious about dealing with the problem instead of just looking the other way. Well, these Wahhabi fanatics murdered 1,400 of our people, so we're going to have a ceasefire. We'll negotiate a peace, and we'll have 5 or 6 years of being normal, and then they'll do it again. Instead, in Israel, there's a new expression that in Hebrew is "Sof anachnu midabrim Arabit," which means finally, we're learning how to speak Arabic. And what that means is when these Wahhabis do this stuff in Arab countries, the Arab countries don't mess with them. They fight them, they kill them, they arrest them, and they don't stop until they eliminated the problem. Only in Europe and America do we say, we'll negotiate, we'll have a ceasefire, we'll do all this stuff. And so finally the Jews of Israel are saying, we tried it the European way, we tried it the American way. Now we're going to handle this problem the way the Arabs would handle it. So that's why they have this expression in Israel. So now we're finally learning how to speak Arabic. So that's the thought. And now let's talk about this at our Liberty and Prosperity Breakfast, now going on at Sal's Cafe in Summer Sport.
You're late.
If you're listening on Saturday, but if you're Sunday afternoon, you're right. We'll have it next year on a Saturday, 9:30. Anyway, okay. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and
same to you, Seth. Same to you. Thanks a lot. Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity, the website libertyandprosperity.com. It is Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. We have John, we have Bob, and we have Craig, and maybe you at 609-407-1450. We'll get started with the calls after these words.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. 609-407-1450 is the number here. Got a lot to talk about today, but let's get started. John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Yes, good morning. I was watching a documentary last night on the Soviet labor camps known as gulags, and Alexander Solzhenitsyn was brought up. Now, Alexander Solzhenitsyn had written a treatise called the Gulag Archipelago, and I thought that he was talking about the Solovki Islands, which are in the Arctic, near the Arctic Ocean, where the first gulags were built. But no, actually, that was a metaphor for all the collection of labor camps spread across the USSR. I thought he was a dissident. He was not a dissident. He was actually an ardent communist, and he was actually an artillery officer in the Red Army. And Stalin's paranoid purges, he was so paranoid about people, deposing him, he actually got rid of, like, the cream of the Soviet military, the best, the top men, the top colonels, and top generals. And he was Solzhenitsyn just wrote a letter to a friend saying he questioned the wisdom of Stalin getting rid of the most able-bodied men in the military with the rising National Socialist Germany to the west. And with that letter got back to Stalin, and Solzhenitsyn was sent to a really fun camp called Kolyma. Kolyma was in the northeast section of Siberia, just below the Arctic Circle. And I saw the actual footage of that nightmarish place, man. And they were actually, the snow was pouring down in more than buckets, and they're, furiously trying to shovel the snow away. And the guy would come in with a pickaxe and pick into that permafrost, which is actually cutting into a rock. And they work like 12 to 16 hours a day on starvation diets when your body needs more food to keep warm. And Solzhenitsyn had said, he said, when they took away our guns and they came to our doors to arrest us, had we known what we were in for, we would have took our broom handles and took our butcher knives and sharpened them into spears and then fought them with those spears and those butcher knives. That's how bad it was, man. And this documentary started out with how socialism makes people into scapegoats. Now, we saw that in National Socialist Germany, where it started with Jews, but it didn't end with Jews. And also, the Kulak farmers, 7.5 million Kulak farmers were starved to death in the Holodomor, and they were actually blamed. They were made into scapegoats for everything that was wrong. So my question for Lavrentiy Beria, who actually became the Soviet marshal of the State Security Administration, who actually got to that position of power by turning people in, himself was put in front of a firing squad and shot. And this documentary showed leader after leader after leader being, something found wrong with them, that they're less than perfect, and they were put in front of firing squads. So my question for the people that have no problem with the white, the white Christian heterosexual being, the scapegoat for this new socialist paradise. When your head's on the chopping block and that guillotine blade comes down and lops your head off right before it, are you gonna think to yourself that maybe making people into scapegoats was not a really good idea after all? And actually, we opposed Nazi Germany and we opposed Marxist communism because it's incompatible with our Constitution. And everything that we have that's good is because of our Constitution. And whatever we have that's bad is because our Constitution's been abused, not the other way around. Thanks for letting me call in.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for the call. Oh, that's well said. Right on point. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Bob is on the line, and Craig will get to them after the break, and maybe we'll get to you at 609-407-1450, our final show of the year, and we're going to go out with a bang. 609-407-1450, our number here, and we will get back to more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, boy, there's a lot to talk about today, according to B.F. Mazzeo. First of all, last week I went in there and was told that a gentleman came in and he heard me say, get those gift baskets, and he ordered one. Well, it's getting closer. So if you want to send one to Aunt Tilly in Sheboygan, PA, then it's now time. Okay? Gift baskets, fruit baskets, you name it. They are the best. And of course, they have been best of the press for the last 9 years. B.F. Mazzeo, the home of the top-notch gift baskets. And that's what you want to do for the holidays. And then, of course, you got your holiday dinner. You do the meal. They'll do the rest. The sides, the cranberry sauce, the baked potato, the stuffing, all of that stuff is available. You check it out online, bfmazio.com, bfmazio.com, and you will see a complete selection of holiday sides. And, of course, your everyday needs, the finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield, and online at bfmazio.com, bfmazio.com. And, of course, we wish you and yours, all of us at B.F. Mazzio, a happy holiday, and we look forward to seeing you in 2024. Really. bfmazio.com, again, the website. 601 New Road in Northfield is the address. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Your WPG Atlantic City Electric AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. A beautiful start to the weekend today, partly sunny skies with a high 56. Becoming cloudy tonight, we're going down to 41. Tomorrow's a cloudy day with some drizzle in the morning, followed by periods of rain in the afternoon and evening. The high tomorrow 58. Rain will taper on Monday, cloudy skies otherwise, with a high 61. I'm AccuWeather forecaster Rose Tamburino on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, if you want to email me during the week, you know the drill, jdadv1 at Comcast.net. jdadv1 at Comcast.net. Feel free to email me anything. Suggestions, pro or con, or whatever. jdadv1 at Comcast.net. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Bob and Cape May. Bob, good morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, John, and Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to everybody. And the years sure go by quick, don't they, John?
Yeah, they do. They do.
They do. Hey, look, John from Ocean City, he was very correct in his history lesson here. The Soviet Union perpetrated some of the worst crimes against humanity imaginable. The Gulag Archipelago that Solzhenitsyn revealed, I mean, there was such... It was hell on earth. You know, there was a city called Archangel, of all names, where the gulags were concentrated, but the Soviet Union had the gulags all over. And, you know, they were the founders of the concentration camps. A jackal named Yevgeny Frankl is the one who instituted the idea of a concentration camp where you get political prisoners, you get people that are targeted by the government, and you don't just kill them. Before you kill them, you sap all of their energy, you make them work, and then you kill them. And you make them work and labor for years and years. And, you know, at the end of World War II, can you name the largest concentration camp in the world, John? Do you know what the largest concentration camp in the world was?
No.
Okay. It was not Auschwitz. It was on the Kamchatka Peninsula. It was a gold. They were mining gold. But anyway, that you know, it's just an interesting fact that, again, we all think that Auschwitz was the worst concentration camp, the largest concentration camp in the world, when it wasn't. It was Stalin's concentration camp. But you know, you asked the question earlier: what kind of country do you want our grandchildren, our new generation to live in. And we have the answers here, and we're at a crossroads right here in this country. Do we want them to have the freedom that we all enjoyed, the free markets that led to unbridled prosperity? Or do we want what the Democrat socialists want to impose, which is open borders, criminality that goes unpunished, high taxes? It's all there. Do we want our future generations to be limited by what kind of vehicles they drive? Do markets determine what kind of vehicles are purchased, or what kind of, or do we allow government to impose that? These are all questions we need to answer, and we need to answer them in this coming election.
Yes, that's right.
So,
that's right.
But we're at a real crossroads, and again, it's the questions are, the answers are obvious. Do you want what we see going on in Philadelphia and Detroit, Chicago? It will spread. It will consume this country if we allow it to.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Hey, John, my phone's about to die, so
okay.
I don't
all right.
hang up on you.
All right. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All right. Happy New Year and all that stuff. Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Well, Merry Christmas, John, and
yes,
to all of your listening audience. And I hope you have a safe and healthy holiday and a new year.
I hope so, too.
Yeah. But, what a week. Where should we start? We'll start real quick. What do you think we start up there in Massachusetts, where Obama, did you notice that the Secret Service's, the boats, they had 2 boats. When that chef was in the water, boom, boom, start him up, get him out there, and pick up the chef before he drowns. But not one boat wasn't working, but both boats weren't working.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Kind of suspicious.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I wonder what he knew. I wonder what's cooking up there. But in the meantime, since we're talking about cooking and deaths and, Epstein, did you see that Marcia Blackburn, she asked for the flight logs of Epstein's. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, she actually did that, and she asked for it in the Senate. And Durbin, I want you Democrats to know, your boy Durbin, okay, stop it. He wouldn't allow there to be a vote, okay, for Epstein's flight logs. So what are you Democrats hiding? Maybe Pizzagate. Because remember they said there was nothing, about Pizzagate. Did you remember that, John?
Yeah, no, I vaguely, but refresh my memory.
Well, Pizzagate, because I don't want to spend too much time. I got a lot to cover here. But Pizzagate is like pepperoni, I don't know how it all works, but it's a way of identifying the type of child that you want to have sex with.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. And so the guy that was working for the Obama White House, you can look it up. Okay, he got arrested. He's going to jail. He was involved in it. In Pizzagate.
Jeez.
From Chicago.
Jeez.
And don't forget, Obama ordered $52,000 of pizza for the White House one time. Just remember I said that. If I disappear, just remember that, John. Okay?
52,000.
52. We're on Obama right now, who said, in Netflix, his little movie there, he Mr. Producer.
Yeah.
Don't trust white people. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
Okay, I thought that. I thought Seth, Seth, I thought you'd bring that up because, see, we have an assault, not just, most Jewish people are white, right?
Yes.
Okay, Christians?
Mostly, yeah.
White, mostly white, yes. And then, so, what we're seeing is an assault on white people's rights. Okay, did you see what they did up there in Harvard to all the people? They're suing Harvard right now for all the white people okay, that were not allowed into that college. And then you saw that Harvard, the dean.
Yeah.
Did you see what she did?
Which one now? The president or the dean?
The president, the one that they're all talking about now. Is how she plagiarized her whole thesis there to get into that. And now they're trying to do a cover-up on that as well.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
Yeah. But, and then they got a thing out there where, and you people can listen to it, instead of putting, across the sea, Galilee to the sea, they put, maybe it should be black people or LGBT people, gay people. You understand? If that was said instead of the Jewish people, then they would be up in arms.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So we had Hunter. Hunter had a big week this week, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Got that interview. Did you see who set that interview up?
No. Who did?
Oh, none other than Mr. Bang Bang, Chang Chang, Mr. Swalwell, who was involved with the spy from China. He set up that interview.
Oh, boy.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
So we did take a look at that Hunter and allegedly Joe Biden got some money from China. But the biggest part about that is that Swalwell is with our Judiciary Committee in Congress. Did you know that part?
No, I didn't know that either.
Okay, so, the Judiciary Committee, they're the ones that meet in private. So who would know better, than Swalwell and that guy from Maryland that, has cancer that's wearing the bandana on his head?
Yeah.
I forget what his name is. You might be able to help me out.
Jamie Raskin?
Yeah, there you go,
Yeah.
Raskin. Thank you so much for the assist. So Raskin comes out. Oh, look what they're trying to do to Hunter. Well, Raskin was where was Raskin's big mouth when he was hauling in the Trump children?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, and if they didn't appear, what was going to happen to them?
Oh, they
didn't get a public hearing, did they? Do you remember what happened to Donald Jr.? He was in there for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Behind closed doors, right?
Yeah.
And how about Donald Trump's other son? Same thing, right?
Yep.
Now, you didn't think they were bringing him in there so they could take him on a vacation, did
No,
you?
not at all.
Not at all. Maybe they were going to take him to an island, but it was not going to be the island that everybody thinks. Maybe in Guantanamo Bay was what they had in mind.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No.
Okay. You can see the double standard.
Yes.
All right. So, people, I just want to say I'm sorry for some of this stuff here that we got to talk about, but let's try to save our country. And Seth, I did reach out to Seth. Did you see how Donald Trump is doing now?
Yeah.
Big time, right?
Yep.
Okay. And what is it about? The border and the economy.
Yep.
And I'll leave you with that,
Yep.
John. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Same to you, and Happy
safe.
New Year and all that. We'll see you next year, I think. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We still have plenty to talk about here, and we have some open lines. Rare moment here on the show. 609-407-1450 is the number. Do want to remind you, 11 o'clock this morning, we are going to have an interesting guest, and he is a member of Liberty and Prosperity. No, it's not Seth Grossman. His name is Dr. David Goloff, and he has developed a website, and it is really a fascinating idea, and one that we think you should know about, and we'll talk about it later on in the show, but he'll be here at 11 o'clock. It's called mytake.live, and it's really about finding the truth of what we're being told by the media. And that's really all I'll say, because that's really all I know about. He'll explain it when he comes on at 11 o'clock this morning. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We'll have more of the show after these words.
Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
And we're back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. Okay. The cold is pretty much over, all right? But a few things linger, you know. Let's talk to Greg in Absecon. Greg, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Mr. Damasi, good morning.
Morning, sir.
2023.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out where these leaders came from and what happened to our freedom.
Yeah.
And I would like to know when it started. Maybe somebody out there knows. The New Green Deal,
yeah.
We had nothing to do with it, but we're going to pay for it.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's a litany that's coming at us, our children. They're being taught a whole new education. Did we have anything to do with it?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
And it's being forced down our throats. We have every government facility that I'm aware of is no longer as we remember it. The FBI. It's now the Federal Bureau of Intimidation. What the hell are we doing?
That's a good one.
It's the truth.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, when they can pull people out of their homes and take them and put them in jail without charging them. I mean, we're no longer living in the United States. I'm just trying to figure out, did the country move? Or are we still, I really don't know if we're in the same place. I know we don't have the same government.
Yeah.
As far as our leaders, I think they came out of a spaceship somewhere. Because these people, they may talk the language, but what the hell they're talking, it makes no sense to anybody anymore.
No.
When you can take a government and almost every facility is being used not with its original purpose.
Yeah.
It just changes.
Yeah.
The Justice Department, we don't have justice in this country anymore.
No.
Yeah. And then when you figure of cities that if they don't feel it's a crime, put them back out in the street.
Yeah.
Who's responsible for that? Because if they take criminals that killed people and put them back out on the street and they do it again, aren't they culpable?
Yeah, I would think so.
They're the ones that put them back out on the street.
Definitely. I would think so.
You know, everything's going backwards.
Yeah, and when you
look at our utilities. We had utilities that functioned, worked, and so they were a little bit soiled. Now we're going to have pure energy, but it'll never work. And people will say, well, how do you know that? Because wind cannot support this country.
Oh, no question.
Its needs.
No question.
Period.
No question.
But we have to go out and learn that, in reality. It's insane.
It's just backwards. The whole thing is, what you're saying is it's all backwards. You know,
we're going back.
We're not moving forward. And that's what when I started the show today, I thought, where are we going? You know, look at all these things, and what kind of a world will the grandkids have? I don't know.
Right. Well, we can't recognize it. What the hell are they going to be doing?
That's for sure. Hey, Greg, thanks a lot for the call. We appreciate it. You know, you hate to say gloom and doom, especially around the holidays, but that's the truth. I mean, everything is backwards. Look at this thing again, and I talked about it last week. If you steal under $500 in Philadelphia, you get a ticket. A ticket. Can you imagine? You get more of a punishment if you have a motor vehicle violation, like a moving violation. Like if you speed, you get a couple $100 fine. But if you steal under $500, you get a ticket. Pay the ticket, that's it. Probably the crooks probably don't even pay the ticket. I just don't understand it. But you know, it's kind of the theme of today's show. Like, what kind of a world are the grandkids facing? And it's a scary, scary thought. Okay, we'll talk about some brighter things. Like, coming up in the next hour, we're going to give away the $50 gift certificate to BF Mazzio. And if you want, we're going to give you a chance to get a teaching calendar, courtesy of Liberty and Prosperity. We'll do that, too. 609-407-1450 will be the number here. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. And I'm John DeMasi. Hour number 1, boy, that flew by. Hour number 2, we're going to start off with Andy. And maybe you, and maybe you, and maybe you. Who knows? We're going to talk about it. Talk with a Purpose. Hour number 2 on the way. Don't go away.
.5 FM and 1450 AM WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now, the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 2, Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us, as always, for our holiday show. I was going to wear my Christmas outfit, but I gave that away in 1970. What can I tell you? You know, we were talking to Greg brought up the electricity and the windmills, and you know what? We knocked out Ørsted. Now we're gunning for the other company, Atlantic Shores. Yeah, listen to this. 8 shore towns have filed a lawsuit against the DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection. Ørsted wasn't the only one. This is Atlantic Shores. That's the other company. The lawsuit asks for an independent review of whether the Atlantic Shores project violated the department's coastal regulations. There are 8 towns, as I said, filing suit, including, yes, my town, Brigantine, is in there, Ventnor, Beach Haven, Ship Bottom, Harvey Cedars, and others. We'll see how it turns out. Hopefully, this lawsuit takes effect, and they'll make this company say, we don't need this. We don't need this garbage. So maybe they'll drop out too. So we'll see, but it's being challenged, okay? Just like Orsted, and they dropped out. So hopefully it will. Andy is in Brigantine. Andy, good morning.
Good morning, John. It's a great day in Brigantine.
Yes, it is.
There's a lot to unpack. Well, the reason for my initial call on, again, this Hamas, what's happening in Israel and the protests, and, if you look at the left who's supporting Hamas, what do they always lecture us about? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. DEI.
Yep.
So let's look at Hamas. Let's look at the Muslim world, okay? In the Muslim world, if you're a woman, you're considered chattels. You're property. Your husband can kill you if he thinks you've disgraced the family. The man can kill the daughter if he thinks she's disgraced the family. Okay, no problem. Sharia law. In the Muslim world, if you are LGBTQIA plus, et cetera, you're thrown off a building. You're thrown off a bridge. You're hung from a bridge. You're shot in the head. In the Muslim world, if you are a non-Muslim, you are considered the enemy. Okay? You're an infidel. So you would have to say that Islam, along with the Chinese, the Muslim world, the most intolerant people in the world. So the people who lecture us about diversity, equity, and inclusiveness support the least diverse, the least inclusive, the least tolerant people on the planet.
Yeah.
It's breathtaking.
Yeah.
All of these LGBTQ people who are out protesting, if any one of them dared to set foot in a Muslim country, they would be shot on sight.
Yeah, that's right.
And, the stuff that Seth was talking about with the bagel breakfast in his building, that these people, they're still talking about Trump and abortion, they just, this is what's occupying their minds. I mean, I guess it was Jefferson said that a country gets, or a people gets the government it deserves. He also said an uninformed populace is the biggest threat to a democracy.
That's right.
I mean, people who, I don't know where their minds are, the kinds of things that occupy their mind. So this morning I heard, it was reported that they found 10 IEDs at the southern border. They confiscated 10 IEDs at the southern border. These people are trying to bring them in. Now they say, before you panic and worry about it, it's really the cartels would try to use those devices against other cartels, because the drug dealers are all fighting for the same space. But you know what's going to happen with one of these IEDs. These people are coming in. We have no idea who they are. I keep hearing about this girl that's on the 5 that just annoys me to no end. Her voice is like fingernails going down a chalkboard. I'd rather hear Edith Bunker sing the Star-Spangled Banner than listen to this woman talk. Jessica Tarloff talking about, these legitimate asylum claims. Let's look at what asylum is. Asylum, you're living in a country where your own government is persecuting you. Your own government has you under threat of violence or death or unfair imprisonment, etc. So you flee that country to go to another country. The very definition of asylum, you claim asylum in the very first country you come to once you leave your country. So as soon as you step foot over the border into the next country, you claim asylum there. We've got people coming from all over the world, people from China, people from Somalia, people from Yemen, the Middle East, all over the world. These people are coming here. They're flying to South America and then making their way up from South America through another half dozen countries before they set foot in America, and then they're claiming asylum. Okay, that's not asylum. These people are economic migrants. They're coming here. Okay, you could argue some people are coming here, they want to work, they want to start a business, whatever, but they're coming here, a lot of them, for the free stuff. You have something going on here. There's a difference between somebody was talking the other day on Harry's show about this, that we're a melting pot. We're a melting pot. Well, John, your family came here, my family came here.
Yeah.
The melting pot. So they come here, they jump into the melting pot. So in other words, once they're in the melting pot, they are melted down and they become something else. What do they become? They become Americans.
Yeah.
They come here to be Americans. They come here because they love our culture and our way of life, our freedoms. They become Americans. So that's multi-ethnicity. We've always been a multi-ethnic nation. We have many ethnicities living in this country, and I don't care where you come from. But once you come here, you become an American. You learn the language. You follow our laws. You follow our culture. If your culture was so great, then why did you leave the country you came from?
Yeah.
These people now, what's happening, we're becoming a multicultural nation. That's different than a multi-ethnic nation. The multicultural nation is when you have people coming here from these other cultures who then bring their culture with them. And you look at what's happening in Europe, where you have these areas where you have these Muslim enclaves where these people will not and do not accept the laws of the country in which they're living. They have their own ways. The police aren't even allowed to go into these areas where these people live. Okay? So Sharia law, it is a matter of time because we already have Muslims and I'm not whitewashing all Muslims. Please don't think I'm doing that. But you have radical people like Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar. You get these people in our government, it is a matter of time before Sharia ends up encroaching into our own laws, our own ways. Yeah. Once you get enough of these people living in this country where they start making demands of the government to accommodate them, and it's already happening. What happens once you have some radical judge going along with Sharia on some case? And it actually happened in New Jersey some years ago. There was a judge who ruled in favor of a guy. He raped his wife. The wife took him to court. The judge ruled in favor of the husband because, it's their culture and that's allowed. Now, it was overturned, but there will come a day where it's not overturned.
Yeah, that's the scary thing. We appreciate it. Thanks for the call, Andy. Jeez, I don't know what to say. Just too much. Too much. This show today, I was explaining to myself. I was, what's this world going to be like? Boy, we're getting a lot of gloom and doom again. Merry Christmas, huh? Happy New Year. John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome back.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Oh, my gosh. That's Craig had talked about Pizzagate, and it's just a bunch of tinfoil hat nonsense. Yuck. No, it's not. Actually, what predates the 2015 Pizzagate scandal was the Franklin cover-up scandal that reaches back to the 1980s. It was actually John DeCamp, senator from Nebraska, a Republican senator from Nebraska, and Ted Gunderson, retired FBI, who also hailed from Nebraska, had gone back to straighten things out because these kids from Boys Town, Troy Bonner and Paul Bonacy, and also Alicia Allen, who's from the girls' equivalent of Boys Town, were actually used to lure little kids into vans, and they were used in pedophile snuff films. And that's still going on. And John, hello, can you hear?
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up. You got it. You got it now, I think.
Okay. Cool. But anyway, John DeCamp had said, this is not the America that I was raised in. In fact, this is not America. And Ted Gunderson was shocked because he thought when he came to Nebraska to go after these people, he thought he was going to find your usual suspects, real slime balls. But no, the chief of police, the top politicians, top people in business were involved. And before you go make it into a white conspiracy, Larry King was the kingpin there, a black Republican politician, and he did terrible. He's done terrible things. He's still alive, I think. He did very terrible things to little children, and what's going on is unbelievably bad. But I want to bring up actually the Keystone XL pipeline, where it actually comes from. It's derived from a sludgy, sticky deposit found beneath the wilds of North Alberta's boreal forest. But they're saying, and it's not being revealed to we the people because they don't want us to know about it, is there's more natural gas in crude in Alaska than anywhere else in the world. Definitely in the Western Hemisphere, the Keystone XL pipeline included. Now, there's natural gas and crude from the Leviathan vein off of the coast of Israel through Ukraine and through southern Russia, and also Norway. But actually, this idea that we can replace the electrical grid with wind energy and solar energy they know it's not going to work. So I just think that these people are actually they want depopulation is what they want.
Yeah.
But if we the people can wake up, it don't matter what color your skin and what religion you follow, if we can wake up in time, we might be able to save our wonderful and beautiful country. Merry Christmas.
John. Hey, John. Oh, did he go? John, you there? You still? Yeah. Would you like a Liberty and Prosperity calendar?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. We're going to put you on hold, and Chris is going to take your address, and I'm going to mail out calendars. So you're the first one that's going to get one.
Beautiful.
Okay. And thanks for the call, and Merry Christmas. Get his address. Thanks, Chris. So that will lead me into this. That if you want a Liberty and Prosperity calendar, we have 10. Well, now we have 9. John got one. So we have 9 left. And if you would like one, simply when Chris answers the phone, just say, I'd like a calendar. And we've got 9 left. That's all we can do. Okay. And we'd like you to have it. 609-407-1450, our number here in the studio. Let's talk to Dan in Linwood. Dan, good morning. Welcome.
A lot of news there. On the Biden front, they're talking about moving the impeachment to the most important article is you will faithfully execute the laws of the United States. And
yes,
I don't think if you look at that southern border, anybody is faithfully doing anything.
No, they're
the laws are on the books. But he won't listen.
By the way, they're moving forward with that impeachment of Biden, but I'm afraid they don't have really hard evidence. I mean, you just mentioned something, and that could be considered, but they don't have real hard evidence, and that's what I'm concerned about.
That $200,000 check is not evidence. Right?
Oh yeah, well that's okay.
How about in your world? If the IRS formed an investigation and asked John Massey, John, can you explain the $200,000 check? And if it is a loan, can you show me the loan papers? And if your answer is no and no, you're going to Leavenworth.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they call hard evidence. And hard evidence is when Hunter Biden makes a speech with Swalwell put together. And by the way, he was removed from the Intelligence Committee, thank God. Hunter Biden makes a speech and says, now it's no financial connection between me and my father. Yet, in your memo, you threaten the governments of China, in China, you threaten your people there that if you don't move within the night, we're going to hold a grudge and the person next to me is going to do this. Well, you affiliated your father with you. You made the statement that he was there and that he was going to put the pressure on. And we have a history in the past of him putting the pressure on because he flies to Ukraine after your request, and he goes in contravention now to the Obama policy contravention. The $1 billion was supposed to be given to the Ukraine because the prosecutor was doing a good job, not a bad job. Biden says he's doing a bad job. I want him out, and you won't get the $1 billion. And totally against our policy.
Yeah.
And nobody brings that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That's the ultimate crime, because you not only did it, you confessed to it. You were on video saying, "Hey, son of a bee, the prosecutor got fired." Yeah, you threatened them with losing $1 billion.
Oh boy,
it's one thing after another, and there is hard evidence. Don't believe what you hear from CNBC or NBC or any of these people. Hard evidence is what they got: the $40,000 check, the million and a half money that came in, the $3.1 million from the Russian oligarch, and the wires that go to the Delaware houses. So, if you're not connected, what's your question here? Hey Hunter, why did we just get a $150,000 wire from China? Why did that come to our house?
Yeah.
Would you be saying it if your niece got a wire came to your address?
Boy, yeah, I get you. You know.
Well, this is called evidence.
Yeah. Well,
and the other evidence is you made $174,000 as a senator. You declared yourself the poorest senator, but when you went home to the DuPont mansion, and then you bought a beach house for $2.5 million in cash. So how could you be the poorest senator?
I always wondered about that. You know, I mean,
yeah.
he gets a beach house that's worth. It might even be worth more than $2 million, but you know, that's whatever. But the point is, how could you afford that? I just don't understand it. But you know, that's...
then the taxpayers are on the hook for building him a security wall for $450,000.
Yeah,
at the beach house.
Yeah. How about he spent? How about Hunter spending the tax money that he was supposed to give to the IRS? He spent it on strippers and hookers.
Once again, if it was John DeMasi, would be writing would be sending you files. And
yes,
yes. And using Air Force One, going on Air Force One those 20 times also is, that's no evidence, I guess.
Yeah.
And when you get off the steps, or the probably the last time Biden got down the big steps, you go one way and Hunter goes the other way.
Yeah.
And he meets with the ministers.
Yeah.
Why is the son of the president or the vice president meeting with these people?
Oh yeah, there's plenty. You're right. There's plenty of evidence, but the party line has been, we don't have any evidence. How could they impeach him? There's no evidence, you know. So
no evidence. In other words, the guys, the Bobulinski and the other fellow Archer, when they made their statements, and the IRS guys made their statements, that's not evidence.
Of course, but that's what they're saying, you know.
Well, you want to say evidence could be good or evidence could be bad.
Yeah.
But it is evidence, and it should be presented in a forum where people could judge if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
But don't say there's no evidence.
Yeah.
There is evidence.
Plenty. According to what you just told us, that there's plenty.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
you're talking about all the money going to the Biden children. Well, first of all, are they being audited?
No.
Well, how could millions of dollars, $20 million, go to all different family members? And it's just it's not credible on their side of the story. And Hunter, he says, "You're defaming my character." Excuse me?
You're defaming my character. That's a good one, huh?
That's a classic. And hopefully, John, if you were if you had a relative, or you had a friend, or just you're a patriot, so you know if you're in those bases in Iraq and Syria and you're being attacked, and the president of the United States is not doing nothing about it. So it's over 100 attacks now. There has to be, the Congress has to call an emergency session and either cut off all funding, to the operation, pull back the carriers, because they're sitting ducks there if they don't respond.
Yeah, they are. Hey, Dan, thanks for the call. A lot of good stuff there. 609-407-1450. Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We promise we'll give out this Mazzio gift certificate. And, of course, if you want a Liberty and Prosperity teaching calendar, it really is an excellent calendar. I saved one for myself. I mean, I got to tell you the truth. Full disclosure, I saved one for myself. But it's really a nice calendar, and you'll enjoy it. So we have 8 more to give away, 7 more to give away. Okay, and if you want one, call in, and Chris will take your name and address, and we'll mail them out to you. We have Kevin, we have Bill, and maybe we have you at 609-407-1450, and we'll give out the Mazzio gift card and all kinds of good stuff. But first, we want to tell you about Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. I stopped in yesterday, talked to Helen, and we straightened out my car situation. I am keeping my Lexus. And I bought the car, and that's it. I mean, was going to look at a few things, but decided that in the interest of economy and really, how could I put this? Keeping a low car payment is what the motto was. So I did that. And so we talked about it, and really there was no pressure. There was no pressure at all. Decided what I wanted to do, and I'm going to keep the car. I bought the car, and that's it. Maybe I'll trade it in one day in the future, but right now I've got my Lexus, and that's pretty much the situation. But for you, and if you want to test drive a Lexus, you want to test drive a couple, there's plenty of cars there, the SUVs, the sedans, you name it, they got it. And, you know, the interesting thing was, and Helen pointed this out to me, that I drive a lot, and it doesn't make sense for me to lease anymore. And that's actually why I bought the car. So she recommended that I look at L Certified, and maybe you look at L Certified too. I mean, cars that are maybe a year or 2 years old and low mileage. And in fact, I looked at one that had 6,000 miles on it. So it's really a way to go if you're looking to really get in a good car, and that's what you want to do. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT, online at aclexus.com. aclexus.com is the website. And again, stop in and say hi to Helen and all the people at Lexus of Atlantic City. They'll take care of you, and no pressure, no hype, none of that stuff. It doesn't exist there. They're straightforward, and you'll get the deal that you want. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT, online at aclexus.com. Coming back with more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
I'm Seth Grossman for LibertyandProsperity.com. Everyone who lives near the ocean or the bay knows that we have a bad storm and flooding about every 20 years. Some people want their shore houses built on pilings. However, others like me would rather pay for major repairs and improvements every 20 years than walk up and down an extra set of steps every day. At one time, Americans were free to decide what kind of house we lived in, but not anymore. If you live in any shore town from Brigantine to Cape May, you may not get a permit for new bathrooms or a new kitchen unless you first spend another $75,000 to raise your house 14 feet off the ground. Learn the details and what we can do about it. Visit LibertyandProsperity.com. Help us reach more people. Join our weekly breakfast. Donate what you can to keep us on the air and online. LibertyandProsperity.com.
Holiday gift baskets and fruit baskets galore. That's what you'll find at B.F. Mazzio. B.F. Mazzio, best of the press for gift baskets 9 years in a row, has the perfect way to celebrate the holidays for friends and family far and wide. Go to bfmazzio.com for a complete selection. Plus, there's a variety of holiday sides. You do the meal, we'll do the rest. That's the motto of B.F. Mazzio. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield, and always online at bfmazzio.com. Happy holidays from B.F. Mazzio.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 left. Okay, good. We got 6 calendars left. And the Mazzio gift card is coming up. Who knows what you're going to have to do to get that? Let's talk to Kevin in EHT. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning, John. Merry Christmas to you. You got the greatest callers.
I think so. Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thank you. I'd just like to bring up 3 points. Talking about the Penn president that lost her job.
Yeah.
I believe I heard that she was moved to a law department now. So it's not like she's out on the street collecting unemployment.
Yeah.
She was moved within.
Yeah. Well, I think she was dean of the law school before, and she was still that, and I think she's going to do that again full time. So yeah, you're right. She wasn't kicked to the curb. No.
No, So they're giving you they're almost like she's crying poor, but she still has her job. So,
by the way, you know what her salary is?
I wouldn't have a clue.
$675,000.
Gosh, that's right up where you, John, in the same bracket.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. I'm in radio. Radio guys are poor.
Okay,
man.
Point number 2. I don't know if you're aware or not. I live in Egg Harbor Township, and last, I don't know what day it was, but my daughter was home and said, there's guys walking around in yellow vests and hard hats. Well, they left a note on our door, or one of those little hangers. It's one of the solar companies. It wasn't Ørsted. I think it was, what was the other name they used? Southern?
Atlantic Shores. Atlantic Shores.
Okay. I looked in the trash. I must have tossed it, but they are leaving. They are going door to door to try to sell, their project.
Oh, boy.
I haven't heard anyone else talk about that.
No. Wow. How about that? Well.
But they left a hanger or one of those signs that hangs on your door giving you info.
Yeah. Well, they're being sued. All these towns are suing them. So, they got to fight back. And if they want this thing to happen, I don't think that's going to happen either. So, I hope it doesn't. But, they're being sued.
Well, I work at a casino that oversees that building Ørsted's going on, and they're doing all kinds of dredging for their big boats to come in and stuff like that. I'm wondering if that's all been cleared by the Army Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
But it's they're well moving along there. They're not stopping what they're doing with that building down there at the inlet.
Yeah.
And anyway, number 3, John, we keep talking about Biden's $2.5 million house in Delaware. I think if we get the same judge that they used on Mar-a-Lago, they'll find out that that's only worth like $12,500 and not nearly the value that we talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that can't be right.
No, of course not.
Mar-a-Lago was only worth what? It's like $1 billion property, and they appraised it at like $200,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there was an error made on that house in Delaware too.
Yeah.
The fact that they put $450,000 wall around a $12,000 or $12,500 home. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Being sarcastic, you realize.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know. I know. That's called Biden economics.
Yeah, good grief. God help us all.
Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call.
Great holiday.
You too. Bill and Absecon. Bill, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, John. How you been? It's been a long time since I've called you. I'm Bill Southern. I used to be at the Mission years ago.
Yeah. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Merry Christmas to you.
Same to you.
I want to make a statement. I'm listening to things, and you have so much information. You got your show has so many people calling in, and they all are connected somehow to the bigger system. They all know people. Some people of prominence there, and I think you have a school there. You could teach people how to overcome this governmental control.
Yeah,
it's got to end. I mean, think about it this way. I even listened to Denny the other day when he was giving Palestine a hard time. They were banging back and forth. And in the course of the conversation, they're talking about contracts. And Denny says, we don't give contracts out unless you get an RFP, request for proposal. You have to ask for it, and you can bid on a particular contract. Well, the other guy, the Palestinian, says, well, I have 17 others that I don't have to do that with. I'm saying, well, wait a minute. One county does it this way, another county does it another way. And he has the advantage of having 17 other contracts that nobody else can bid on except him. So you think about how people get wealthy, and politics, even locally. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm saying that's what he does, though. And he actually spilled his beans right there on the radio. Nobody picked it up. So I'm thinking, you have to look at it and say, there's no honesty or integrity anywhere. Everybody's out for themselves. And that has to change, too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But see, it's happening locally, but we don't do anything even locally to straighten it out. We should check every contract that our county does, our cities do. We should know about what our budgets are, and we should be open for us to see anything we need to see.
Well, I think that there is that system, but it requires work. You got to look these things up, and sometimes people don't feel like doing that. That's what happens.
I used to review contracts regularly that the county would give out through when the SSBG or CDBG money would come through, and so SSH dollars. It was millions of dollars, millions and millions.
Yeah,
I reviewed all those contracts. I used to look at them all.
Yeah,
and I'd ask questions about them, and they would shut me down if they didn't like my questions.
Yeah. Well,
and I did all that voluntarily when I was at the mission. I still worked for the help them. So if we don't really do anything, nothing can change.
Yeah, that's true. Bill, thanks for the call. Good hearing from you again. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're going to talk to Paul after the break, and maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Also heard on 1450 AM. We're coming back. Oh, yeah, I'll give out the Mazio gift cards. I know you're waiting for that. We'll come back after these words.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
Your WPG Atlantic City Electric AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. Going to be partly sunny this afternoon. Just a beautiful start to the weekend. High 56. Becoming cloudy though tonight. Low 41. Cloudy and mild tomorrow with areas of drizzle in the morning. That'll be followed by periods of rain in the afternoon. High 58. Windy mild with rain, some heavy tomorrow night. Flooding possible with a low 55 to wrap the weekend. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. Here is your holiday homework, shall we say. You can listen to any of our shows anytime, and you're going to have over 200 to listen to during the holidays because, we're not going to be live, so you go back to the old shows. You Google John DeMasi podcasts, and they all come up. Some 200 or so. 202, I think it is. Yeah. Well, how about that? 202. So you got, you got your listening to do over the holidays. Google John DeMasi podcasts, and all of the shows come up. It's that simple. Talk with a Purpose is the program every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Also heard on 1450 AM. Let's talk to Paul in EHT. Paul, good morning. Welcome to Talk with the Purpose.
Good morning, John. Yesterday I was on a bus, a Pace bus, and we went down Route 9 towards Summers Point and went right past BF Mazio, and I thought of you. You know, that's one thing. Now, the second thing, have you heard that Trump is going to choose Tucker Carlson as his running mate?
I heard that. Yeah.
That's very interesting. I would like to see Tucker Carlson debate the current VP, who I don't even think she knows where she's at. Now another thing, I was talking to Harry the other day, and I was complaining about where I live here, that I feel like I'm in Mexico, because I only speak English. Okay. I had 4 years of Spanish in high school, but I don't remember very much of it. Okay, and everywhere I go, everything, the Atlantic City Press, it's written in English. It's not written in Spanish. And I go to Pace, and all they talk is English, not Spanish. You know, I'm not a racist. I have a lot of black friends. Okay, as a matter of fact, I for a while went to a black church where I was the only white person there. And so I'm not a racist, but I don't speak Spanish. Okay, that's just how it is.
And neither do I. And I had 5 years of French, and I can't speak any either. So don't feel bad. You know, I mean, the only way I passed French was my mother had a neighbor who was from France, and he tutored me. So.
Well, I had 4 years of Spanish, but I don't remember very much of it. You know,
neither do I. So I feel for you. You know, but you're right. I mean, we should really. They should learn. Again, they can speak Spanish, but learn to speak English. That's what.
I think that's one of the requirements, isn't it, to become a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Is that you learn English.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Paul, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. 609-407-1450. All right. You ready? Here it is for a $50 gift certificate to BF Mazio, 601 New Road in Northfield. We would like you to answer the following question. This is easy. This is too easy, but I give it to you anyway. I want you to tell me who wrote the song White Christmas. Who wrote the song White Christmas? You know it, Chris, don't you? Mm-hmm. Of course. That's an easy one. 609-407-1450. First correct answer gets the $50 Mazio gift card, courtesy of BF Mazio, 601 New Road in Northfield. 609-407-1450. You know, we have talked a lot about the abortion issue. And you knew that this was going to come up. This is the story of Kate Cox. She is a Dallas, Texas woman. She petitioned a judge to get an abortion in Texas. Now, the state Supreme Court ruled against her. She sought the abortion. She learned that her fetus had a fatal genetic condition that carrying the pregnancy to term could jeopardize her future fertility. So this is necessary, wouldn't you think? Plus, the births such as these usually result in a miscarriage or a stillbirth. So this is a problem pregnancy. And if they do survive babies, they often die prematurely. The state's highest court found that the situation itself wasn't sufficient grounds for an exception. By the way, in Texas, a doctor who performs an abortion could be sentenced to life in prison. You believe that? This woman was forced to leave the state in order to get an abortion. So the question is, do you think this is right? I mean, we're not saying, look, we're not saying we're in favor of abortion. That's not the issue here. There should be exceptions, shouldn't there? And shouldn't this be one? So what do you think about that? 609-407-1450. Chris in Northfield. Chris, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Irving Berlin?
You got it. You got it. Very good.
Oh, am I the first one?
You got it. Yeah, you're it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm heading over to Mazzio's today, matter of fact, but not with this.
Yeah, well, you'll get it. I'll put it in the mail, but do you have a question or is that it?
No, that's it. No
Okay.
question right now.
We'll put you on hold. Chris is going to come on, get your address, and we'll put it in the mail to you, and congratulations. Okay, good. That was simple, huh? But we still have calendars to give away, Liberty and Prosperity teaching calendars. I think we got 5 left. Okay? 609-407-1450. So the question, again, with this woman in Dallas, she had to go to another state. Of course, she could have come to New Jersey, which you know the story here. In a similar case in Kentucky, another state where it's difficult to get an abortion, a pregnant woman has filed a lawsuit demanding the right to an abortion since she has learned that her embryo no longer had cardiac activity. So she filed a suit under the name Jane Doe. According to reports, Jane Doe says everyone should have the right to make decisions privately and make decisions for their own families. This says Amber Duke. She's executive director for the ACLU of Kentucky. Her legal team has also declined to disclose whether the woman still needs an abortion, but another case where there may be an exemption. So there's no heartbeat here. So 2 cases here where, and by the way, half of the U.S. states now have laws that ban or restrict access to abortion. And that's okay. I'm not arguing that. But because of that, many clinics don't offer the procedure, and now it's increased demand for appointments at the remaining providers. So this is becoming a real mess here. But it's just the situation here is that there is exceptions there, but really exceptions, and these are 2 cases that may be that. And I knew I would get this call when I start talking about this. Linda in Absecon. Linda, good morning. Welcome.
No, you did not. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to all my friends out there, all you callers and all you listeners. And, yeah, how about that? Now, what do you talk about? Killing children or maybe finding a situation, maybe trying to rationalize? Somebody's going to end up dead, right?
Well, this case, I think what they were saying is that I think the fetus was some kind of a disease, and it was going to probably be born stillborn, or it was going to die prematurely. So, and then maybe cause her to be infertile. So that was the case. And the Supreme Court of Texas said it didn't qualify as an emergency, so she had to go to another state. That was the case.
Before I really wrap my head around her laments, I'd have to look at that case in particular.
Yeah.
But we know that we never really needed Roe versus Wade because the American Medical Association always determined, whether they would go to the woman, the patient, and say, geez, you're in danger. You're in danger of losing your life. Or your baby could cause this, or your baby is this, that, and the other thing. But you never needed Roe versus Wade. It was always bad law because the doctors and the mothers made the decision. Now, if I went out one night and 2 months later I'm out there having what is perceived to be a good time, which would really be my death penalty, because sin will kill you. Fools for their transgressions are afflicted. Now, so anyway, sin can make you sick. So anyway, but that doesn't mean you really have to read the Bible. I mean, you can be born blind and there's no sin on that boy, as discussed in the Bible at one time, because Jesus pointed out, because the people wanted to know, well, who committed sin because it's a child, but there was a blind child. And Jesus said, no one committed sin here regarding this child. So it gets complicated, but for sure, fools for their transgressions are afflicted and can be afflicted. But let's have a discerning mind. I said all that to say this, that my real call was for this. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to all my Jewish friends. And I'm grafted into being a Jew as a Gentile. And that's great. That's a beautiful thing. And we're all Jewish today, are we not?
Yes.
Really, for what Israel is being put through right now.
Yeah.
And my suggestion is for everybody out there, my Christmas present to you is just a thought. Crack open your Bibles, read Matthew 24. This speaks of the last days, and ultimately, the Lord also talks about miracles. This the Antichrist will do miracles, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I said that because I want you to factor into the equation as you're reading this, AI, and what AI ultimately is going to be capable of. However, before it happens, the church, if you're in Christ, you're going to be raptured out. We'll see what's coming on the world, but we won't be a part of it. Christ will come receive us out of the world. And then there will be 7 years of hell. It's called tribulation. Their judgments are coming, and it's for 7 years. And then the end comes. So you want to be raptured out, folks.
Linda, would you like a Seth Grossman Liberty and Prosperity calendar?
That is so sweet of you to ask me. Yes, I would, because Seth is smart and you offered it to me. Thank you.
Well, Chris is going to get on the phone with you. We'll put you on hold. He'll get on the phone, get your address. We're going to mail out the calendars this week. Okay? Thanks for the call. Thanks. Merry Christmas, too. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi, 609-407-1450. Dr. David Goloff will be with us at 11 o'clock. Speaking of getting the truth from the media, and, well, we don't always do that. We know that. David's got a solution. And we'll talk about it at 11 o'clock. So this is going to be fascinating. Stay tuned for that. Talk with a Purpose, coming back with final thoughts in hour number 2 after these words.
Joe Yakovich is registered with, and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. If you want to email me during the week, jdadv1 at comcast.net. jdadv1 at comcast.net. Email me anything you like, program suggestions, pro, con, whatever. jdadv1 at comcast.net. And of course, you can always like us on Facebook at Talk with a Purpose. At Talk with a Purpose is our Facebook address. And it is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. A couple of things here locally. You know, I don't know what... I don't know what they are going to do about this, but did you see the survey that said more people than not will come to Atlantic City from Philadelphia if there's no smoking in the casinos? Now, if you're looking to get business, and I think that we all are looking for that here in Atlantic City, wouldn't you push this smoking ban? And I think they were going to vote on it the other day, and then somehow or another it got tabled. I don't know. So that's one thing. Then the other thing, and Seth talked about this earlier, this thing with the road diet. Now, if you've driven down Atlantic Avenue recently, I call it the bumper cars. That's exactly what it is. I mean, so now they're going to fix it, but they call it the road diet. And of course, Marty Small is very happy about that, but, well, he's the mayor, he should be. But they did this in Ocean City. They did it in Brigantine. They did it in Ventnor. They cut the lanes down from 4 to 2, and now you can't pass anybody on Brigantine Avenue. So, and you know, if you're a local, you pass all these, the shoobies in the summertime, and then they make these wide bike lanes that are hardly used 9 months out of the year. And then what about the traffic? Can you see New Year's Eve in Atlantic City with 2 lanes instead of 4 on Atlantic Avenue? Okay. Better take an Uber. So they're taking this idea and they're reducing the amount of lanes. Is it a good idea? And you know, Seth said it this morning, and I agree. What is this? 4 lanes to 2. And then, like I said, the bike lanes, I mean, in Brigantine, the bike lane is like the size of a car lane. How many bikes are going down that lane? And how many people are riding a bike? I mean, in the summer, yeah, a lot of people. But now, not too many people riding bikes in January and in December. So what is this thinking? I don't understand it. Coming up in hour number 3, we're going to talk to Dr. David Goloff. And, you know, he is a member of Liberty and Prosperity, but that's not why he's here. He's going to talk about his website. And this is really a fascinating concept. And really, you want to stay tuned, because if you've ever wondered, well, the news is always, well, are they telling us the truth? Are we really getting the truth? And how many times have we talked about this? I mean, Dan was talking to me about Joe Biden and all the evidence that they say they don't have, but they have. Well, that's one case where, you know, we don't know what the real story is. Well, Dr. David Goloff is going to kind of lead us down the path to finding out the real story. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about Hunter Biden and maybe some things that are going on in Washington if we have time. And, of course, your calls at 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hour number 2 is rapidly coming to a close. Hour number 3 with Dr. David Goloff on the way. Don't go away.
95.5 FM and 1450 AM WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now, the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 3, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us, and we welcome in to our show Dr. David Goloff. He is here with us, and David has an interesting story, and we'll talk about it. And if you have questions for him, 609-407-1450. Welcome to the show, David.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's come a little closer. Got to get used to these microphones. Your background kind of led you to this. So can you talk about what your background is and how you kind of came full circle to what you're going to talk about here today?
Well, my first jobs was teaching math. And the frustration was that math is a doing thing. You're active. You're solving some problem. You're doing something. But people want to be passive recipients and repeat something. Then I worked in a large insurance company that everybody would recognize the name. And I was in reporting and data, and I've done everything from call center to medical management to legal and public affairs compliance. And there I developed a knack for putting the information together in such a way to help make the executives smarter, to make decisions, to manage something. And I really loved doing that.
So to make an effective decision is what you're saying?
Yeah, but my only job is that they had information that was easy to get to. I'm not, whether they're effective or not is their problem.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so partly because of liberty and prosperity, I've gotten more and more involved in, interested in issues and news and things. And Seth is always talking about some kind of news or the other. And I was doing the Facebook page a lot. I was posting. Everybody thinks I'm Seth when I'm posting, but it was me.
There's only one Seth, by the way.
And, but I got okay numbers. And I started thinking, all these news items, what's a way to put these sources together into a tool that helps people be smarter, that helps people be active, that kind of cuts off or discourages people from being passive recipients or saying, oh, well, I listen to so-and-so. Because it is my hypothesis that the passive mind is a setup for tyranny.
Yeah.
That you can be listening to the best source in the whole wide world. The information you're getting is perfect, but you're a passive recipient. Well, one day when the bad people take over that information source, you're a setup because you're sitting there passively listening, and you'll be led down the road.
So you don't know. You don't know. So if you're passive, you don't really know.
You believe you don't know.
You're right. Okay.
And even if you think you do. So I've sought a long time what is really needed here, and I decided a couple things are needed. Active minds are needed, broad sources, and an elevation of ideas over sources. So I have it set up that you can't really tune into a source that you want to tune into. You have to look at all the different things and then pick from them, and you don't find out what the source is until you go to the second level. So you're looking at headlines and dates, things that are being said by a bunch. And also I treat the highest of the high sources, sort of an equalizer, where the highest of the high are mixed in with no greater dignity than the lowest of the low. Some guy with a blog is right there by Fox News as if they were the same stature. Well, in my mind, they are.
Yeah. Okay.
Your
website is called mytake.live, and you have a T-shirt and you brought me. Thank you. mytake.live. Okay. So, explain, you've kind of talked around it a little bit, but explain the concept of this website.
The concept is to get the user to look very broadly, to look at things de novo each time, but then to be able to take further steps to capture, retain, and use in the news items. The news items are presented as manipulatable objects that can be moved from here to there, put in little buckets. You can then take what you're putting into various, what I'm calling projects. You can then turn them into pages where you can put my take as a page that you can post on social media, depending how active you want to be. So I'm finding most people right now are comfortable to just browse. They look. But even in the looking, you still are forced to have to go through a bunch of stuff without having a priori, before filtered it out to only look at certain things. Left wing, what is called left wing, what is called right wing, and the people in the middle are in 3 parallel columns, again, made equal. So you're it's in front of you, it's there. Even if you choose to ignore it, you kind of have to know you're ignoring it.
So, let me see if I get this straight. Okay, I want to use an example. Like, for example, Netflix. If you go on Netflix, they say to you, this particular show is a 95% match, or this is a 78% match, or another show is a 60% match.
To what?
To your likes.
Oh.
So, is that kind of... Again, it's a vague example, but is that kind of what we're talking about here? That this website kind of lets you see what you want to see from your perspective, as opposed to just looking at a website and it's their perspective?
Well, what prevents it from being my perspective is that there's just so much there. I don't even know what you're seeing on a given moment. I have a bunch of feeds coming in. They all get treated equally. So if you asked me, what would somebody see right now if they went there? Well, I haven't looked at it since yesterday. So I don't even know what you're going to see, let alone that I've pre-cooked it to manipulate you in some way. All right. All I know is I have 250 sources that whenever they release their feeds, it comes in. So I'm not giving you your perspective. I'm not feeding you what you want or what I want or what anybody wants. It's just a wide mix of stuff that is designed to be agnostic. Let's use that word.
Yeah,
I'm agnostic about what comes in. In fact, often the way I choose some sites is I love it. And other times I look at some site and I go, ooh, I hate it, but okay, good, I need that one because I've got stuff I hate, stuff I love, and there's I would use the word agnostic. Now, you can tune things to your preference by what you pick out and put into your projects and save, and then dress it up with your commentary and create a page and post your page.
So it's your
social
thing.
Media.
It's your thing.
It's your thing, and I have no idea what you will make of it.
Okay. Dr. David Goloff is our guest, and he has a website called mytake.live, 609-407-1450. If you have a question for him, you want to know more about this website, and we're going to find out more about it, 609-407-1450. So how does this benefit the person who is a a member of your website or is trying it out or just using it, how does it benefit them?
It lets them look for what concerns them, and then they'll be better informed, because at first you don't get to filter things out. You're forced to see a wide variety of things. In fact, what you see now will be totally different than what you see 6 hours from now. So, but then for you to address your concerns, or if you can save things to projects in your own buckets. So if you care about something, wouldn't you keep a file on it?
Yes.
If you care about what's going on in the schools, well, you can keep a file where you're not only keeping a file across viewpoints. You want to know what the enemy is saying. You want to know what the people on your side are saying. You want to know what the cowards in the middle are saying. So you can track that not only across viewpoint, but across time. If you use it over time, then when you see a new article or a new outrage going on, you can go back to your project and say, let me review what these people on both sides have been saying for the last year or two. Because often that's where you can catch people.
So you kind of have the information that you stored because you're a member of your website.
Right, and you're able to keep a file on things. You ever hear people in politics keep a file on their friends and their enemies, right?
Yes.
Okay, well, ordinary people need to be doing this because they're certainly not solving our problems. So this is for ordinary people to start having a weapon, okay, where it's an information weapon.
Yes. Yes,
and,
I see that.
And I don't know what you'll do with it. I'm enabling people on both sides because I have viewpoints of all kinds, information of all kinds. And then it may be enough for you to track issues. You may want to make your own page out of them. This makes it very easy to have a bunch of news stories that you're using as sort of the basis for what you're going to say, and then add your commentary to it where you don't have to do a whole lot of writing to make your point, and then you can post it to social media. And that's the nature of it.
Isn't this a departure, though, from what we're used to? I mean, is this why you developed this website? Because we always get the news, and we always hear people say, "Oh, they don't have this, they didn't do that," and it's slanted to what that particular news outlet is saying. And so, is this kind of the answer to that, or what?
Well, in a way, yes, because everybody's proposition is, come to us, we have the real news. And I'm always like, okay, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah. You've got, you have your viewpoint, you have your people who work there, and you do your news thing, and that's okay. But I was always looking for, how do I if I go to the regular search engines, they're okay, but they'll give me 8 results at a time. There are some new ones that are more fair, but, I mean, let's face it, if you go to the big tech ones, they're clearly steering you. You ask, who is John XY, and they'll tell you, oh, well, John XY is a right-wing conspiracy theorist. Oh, well, that was a quick, so you're not giving me information, you're giving me a conclusion. Often the so-called search engines really leading with a conclusion, not information. So, and they only give you a few hits. I'm giving you about 150 hits where you see it all at once. You're sort of forced to look at a lot all at once. It's easy to look at a lot all at once, so you're not just steering down a small number of issues. And if you actually care about the issues, I would think that's what somebody wants who really wants to know something.
Is this a good tool to teach? Because I know Seth is always talking about teaching. Is this a good tool to teach somebody?
You mean teach people to use this tool?
Yes.
Well, I mean, most on-screen tools people need a little bit. I have videos that show how to use it. I'm going to do a session at Liberty and Prosperity where I'm going to put it up on the screen and show how to use it. And especially, we have a lot of older people who are not as, they're
computer savvy.
Well, they're not used to on-screen stuff. Okay, they're used to print. And this is something that's really only possible in the computer age, to have this kind of a flood of information that comes at you this fast. And a lot of people complain that the flood of information is what's killing people, but the fact is, if you want to deal with any issues, you're going to have to deal with the flood of information. This makes it easier. This makes it easier to drink from the fire hydrant. Mm-hmm.
So, let me see if I get this straight. So, this develops a trust for the person that uses it because it's set up to, I guess, be your own thing.
It's set up to become whatever you make of it.
Yes, so it's your own thing.
I've gone to great lengths to almost, not only that I'm not steering you in any direction, I'm trying to stop you from following your usual habits where you immediately get steered. I mean, eventually, you can pick out and choose, and especially in more advanced stages, making it your own. But I always have the first stage. You're sort of forced to dilate your pupils and have a wider screen of attention, and there's any apparent that right now there seems to be an emphasis on a particular thing would only be because somebody released their feed right now, and that's what you're seeing. But over time, no,
So it's helping you develop your own viewpoint.
And to not become passive. So to me, the most important thing is the distinction between passive consumption and active use of information. I mean, most people are passive, not because they're lazy, but because they go to work and they're tired by the time they're watching the news. I understand. You're not, right now you do want to just sit down and let somebody tell you, okay, but there is the part where people are getting more involved. So if some people can march into a school board and fight with the school board, for those of us who aren't up for that, we can be more, this is something active that we can do alone, but I believe the psychological difference between passive consumption and active use of information is really what made America a free country. The active thinkers, not passive consumers. Of course, of course, in olden times it was harder to be a passive consumer because you had to do the laundry by hand, for goodness sake. I mean, and I think convenience is one of the weapons that destroys our country.
That's true.
It's a certain well-known online retailer. I feel guilty when I use it, but often I'm like, well, how else am I going to get this stuff without going to some, So, but the convenience and passivity of things is what I'm sort of fighting in this tool at the mental level.
Yes.
But I believe it's the equivalent of the person who's growing some potatoes and has some chickens that lay eggs. That's an active thing you do to be less dependent. This is for the cognitive aspect. I'm trying to push you when you have time, when you have energy. I understand people are tired from work, but when you on the weekend, maybe this is like a mental workout. And I find it's difficult. It's even when I want to put something together of my own there, it's difficult to really do something de novo where, here, I'm not just going to follow something. I'm going to put something together I haven't seen anywhere else, or at least develop some angle.
Okay, Dr. David Goloff is here, and he's talking about his website, mytake.live, and we encourage you to go on there and check it out, mytake.live, and we'll talk about a free trial after the break. We are coming up on a break here. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. 609-407-1450. If you have questions about this website for Dr. Goloff, he's here to talk to you about that. 609-407-1450. We'll come back with more of our interview with him right after these words.
Holiday gift baskets and fruit baskets galore. That's what you'll find at BF Mazzio. BF Mazzio, best of the press for gift baskets 9 years in a row, has the perfect way to celebrate the holidays for friends and family far and wide. Go to bfmazzio.com for a complete selection. Plus, there's a variety of holiday sides. You do the meal, we'll do the rest. That's the motto of BF Mazzio. BF Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield, and always online at bfmazzio.com. Happy holidays from BF Mazzio.
When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC. Member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose. 609-407-1450 is our number here. Dr. David Goloff is our guest. He is a member of Liberty and Prosperity, but that's not why he's here. He's here to talk about his website, mytake.live. mytake.live. And if you have questions for Dr. Goloff, 609-407-1450. You were telling me this is really, we're trying to explain what it is, but this is really a visual thing.
On-screen tools, you really have to be looking at it. And one thing in regard, I do want to tell people that whatever you see on there now, I am in the middle of rebuilding it on a slicker, better platform that it will, in the middle of January, it'll be there, and the searches will go faster, the page loads will go faster, and it'll have a crisper appearance. So just saying, look for that. So right now you're seeing the first version. Version 2 is coming, and it'll just work better, look better.
Is this a good holiday gift?
It would be okay. If you give it to someone, it's probably true that nobody else gave them this.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. Because the person who has everything, you know how many people do you have on that list? Well, what do I get him? What do I get her? Right? And
I'm not so set up that right now it's set up that you would go in with your own email address to register, and then you'd pay under your own identity. If you want to sign up to then gift it to someone with a different email address, then just give me an email at info@mytake.live, and say you want to give a Christmas gift, and then I'll just figure out a way to do that. Okay. This is small tech. I am not big tech.
Okay. So this would be a perfect gift for someone, especially. I mean, do you have to be really proficient in computers? I don't think you did, because you showed me the website, and I'm not exactly a computer whiz. So, do you have to be?
No. The more advanced you go, a little bit, but there's videos to show you. You can certainly look and hover over the news without a whole lot of trouble.
Okay. Well, we have a caller, so maybe hopefully you can answer this question. John in Ocean City. John, good morning. You're on with Dr. David Goloff.
Yes, I want to just comment on, and that's a question too. If you go back to olden times, like Henry David Thoreau, who wrote the book Civil Disobedience, he would escape out into Walden out of Concord, Massachusetts, which is it's called Walden's Pond, but it's actually a lake. And he would grow his own food. He was like strict. He's close to being a very strict vegetarian. He could grow his own food and that. And it was a think tank for him to come up with ideas of how to oppose corruption in the government with a nonviolent way. He actually influenced Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. King. So he was a great thinker. And he came out of the early 19th century, and he was in that age of enlightenment really that brought our Constitution and our revolution by those great thinkers that lived. They shared their ideas. Seth Grossman says it all the time. They shared ideas with each other, and they're actually leaps and bounds above people in Europe. A lot of us can't go off grid. We can't go off and build a cabin or plant food and that, and a lot of people work their tails off in that. So what I'm wondering is that what you're proposing here is actually going back to that that enlightened way of thinking, and also connecting, having an interconnection with us to have a think tank. That's what I'm asking. Oh, thanks.
Well, there's a bit of a contradiction here because, of course, what I'm giving you, you have to be on the grid in some way to get to it. So, so it's sort of yes, you're going to have an internet connection and go on the grid to get it, but I have deliberately made it to be subversive and disruptive of certain patterns in the way news and I almost said news and propaganda is presented. I was going to say news and commentary. All right, is presented. So it's off the grid psychologically, but yes, but again, there's a contradiction. It's kind of funny to me that you have to be very much on the internet to use it. So, but in a way, but it's to encourage you to make what you make of the news to you. It gives you those news items as manipulatable objects that you can move around and turn, ultimately, at the most advanced, they turn into your own page where what you think about it goes at the top. So I don't know, John, does that get at what you're asking?
Yeah, well, he's not.
Oh, sorry. All right.
But I think, he's a regular caller to the show. I think you kind of explained that. There is a 14-day free trial. Talk about that.
The 14-day, no credit card required, free trial. And so you can just try it very easily. All you have to do is click, I want the free trial. And then it sends you an email, confirm your email address. And then it wouldn't ask you for a credit card until the 14 days are up.
And then you make your decision.
And then see if you're interested. So it's very easy to try it. I purposely made it. You don't have to put in a credit card to eliminate as much friction as possible to just try it out.
You don't really want to get into specifics, and I understand that, but just give me an example. Let's say, what's a good example? Where you might talk about something that's in the news that's not particularly a heavy topic, but something where you can kind of show us how this thing works. Does that make sense?
Well, I don't really do any. I don't do any non-heavy topics, and it's not built for someone to look up. It's made for the contentious stuff in the news. Is pretty much what it's going to give you. But one time I was looking up the Title 42 issue. There was a thing called Title 42.
I remember. We talked about that a lot.
That was affecting immigration, and for those on the right, it's a way to keep out what you want to keep out. For the people on the left, it's a way to let in what you want to let in. Now that they're getting rid of Title 42. And so comparing left, right, and middle, and I discovered the truth of a statement that I've heard before, that I'm told that some people on both the harder left and the harder right both agree that the hard left and the hard right tell you more truth because they're not trying to hide. And what I found was that the people on the right on Title 42 would come out and say it. The people on the left would come out and say it. And the people in the middle are twisting themselves into a pretzel to say it without saying it. I forget what the euphemism is, but I have a take I made where they had a way to talk about it without using the word immigration and it's about a Supreme Court decision. You know what I mean? Well, it is about a Supreme Court decision, but the Supreme Court, but the reason you care about the decision is it's going to affect immigration policy. But they would avoid that word immigration. They would say, the Supreme Court, blah, blah, the Supreme Court, la, the Supreme, and made it about the Supreme Court rather than, the only reason we care what the Supreme Court says is because we don't care about the Supreme Court for the sake of the Supreme Court. We care about the Supreme Court because what they say affects things like immigration. or other things. And what I found was just how the middle is using all these circumlocutions to never say what the issue really is. You know, it was almost, and I found it a little bit funny.
So that's an example of how you can kind of steer the people to what is the truth. I guess that's the bottom line, that you want to get people to understand what the truth is. Well, I don't know what the truth is. I mean, the way I see it, it's about people being allowed to address and care about their legitimate concerns. To me, it isn't that they're being diverted away from the truth. They're being diverted away from their rightful, legitimate concerns about their own children. Well, they use a social issue as a battering ram to whack them over the head emotionally until they're bloodied and beaten and dare not care what happens to their own children at school. Yeah. Because you're this, that, and the other if you do. And the fact that you know what I'm talking about without me even saying it proves that it's right. Okay. Now, you know what issue I'm saying, don't you? Okay. Now, so to me, it's people being allowed to pursue not only what they have a right to pursue, but what they have an obligation. You have an obligation to care what they're doing with your kids, what they're doing with freedom, what they're doing with the security of our borders. And this is designed to be subversive and disruptive of the games they play to make it, to make it hard for you to pursue that information and pursue the viewpoint. And there was a contentious school board election recently. Do you ever get into those kinds of things, like who's on what side? Do you ever delve into that with your website?
Well, I don't. I just collect the news sources and make them and expose them to functionality that lets you manipulate and bucket them and position them in a certain way that I don't know that expresses something you want to express. So I don't pursue any issues per se. I do have some filters that go out and look for stories on censorship, look for stories on the media, because that's
really what everybody's talking about.
But for the most part, no, I don't do anything to pursue a particular issue. I'm just trying to pull a bunch of stuff in and make it you can use it, manipulate it, turn it into your own page, do what you want to do with it. You can pursue what you want to pursue without being manipulated to think something different than what you think.
Well, we certainly do thank you for coming on and explaining this. The website is mytake.live, mytake.live, a 14-day free trial. You can check it out and see if you like it and go from there. And you'll be hearing from us a little more in the future. David, thanks for coming on.
No, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. David Goloff, Dr. David Goloff is our guest. Again, the website, mytake.live. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We'll come back with more of today's show after these words.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Your WPG Atlantic City Electric AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. Going to be partly sunny this afternoon. Just a beautiful start to the weekend, high 56. Becoming cloudy though tonight, low 41. Cloudy and mild tomorrow with areas of drizzle in the morning. That'll be followed by periods of rain in the afternoon, high 58. Windy mild with rain, some heavy tomorrow night. Flooding possible with a low 55 to wrap the weekend. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
And we're back here on Talk with a Purpose. 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio. We've got a couple of minutes left of the show, and it is our holiday show, and we certainly do appreciate you spending time with us here before the holidays, and we'll be back with live shows in the new year. And Happy New Year, and Merry Christmas, and all that stuff right here on the Talk with a Purpose. 609-407-1450. Steve in Absecon Island. Steve, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, 'tis the season to you, John.
Yes, 'tis the season to you, too.
Thank you. Couple things. That was an interesting website. Just 2 points I want to make. First of all, he said that he's got 250 feeds, right, from different various websites.
Yes.
Well, he's not going to be able to prevent those feeds from filtering themselves and sending bogus information or the lack of information. He's not going to be able to do that, especially if it's coming from Facebook or Twitter. That's the first thought. And then number two, how's he going to prevent mob rule? You know, if everybody says the earth is flat, I guess that's the truth. I know he's trying to be impartial and say, I want to make sure that you get the information unfiltered, but the filtering's already done from the feeds that he's receiving the information. It's an analog to I take the Webster's dictionary and I filter out half the words and say this is the whole dictionary.
You know what, Steve, to honestly answer the question, I don't know how he does that, but I know that he's very careful in filtering out what he can. I think he's very concerned with the truth, and that's really all I can say. I mean, he's not here now. He's left.
Yeah, I tried to call him. I wanted to ask him that question. I don't think he's filtering it. What I'm saying is he's receiving the information from outside websites, such as Facebook or Twitter or USA Today, other types of news media, print media. And he's saying, if you capture that information and you store it in your folder, and then that information vanishes, you at least have a copy of where it came from originally. What I'm saying is the feeds are coming in. They're already filtered. He's only going to receive what they want him to receive anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, if I'm the dictionary owner and I'm feeding him the dictionary, he's not going to know that I'm omitting certain words or changing the meaning of certain words. He's not going to know that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that he's done to go into this website. So you're asking me questions that I don't know, but whatever. Any other thing on your mind?
I have another. A couple weeks ago you had the what's her name with the catch and release of the animals.
Yeah, Lori Young.
Yeah, I thought your question was awesome. You actually asked it right away. You said, well, how is this not going to cost the taxpayers money? You're not asking. And she says, well, the money's already there. We're just trying to reappropriate it. And I'm saying to myself, well, what about the doctor's cost? What about the nurse's cost?
Yeah.
Yes, you have the facility is there, but they're still going to have to bring in medicine and drugs to anesthetize the animal and to take care of it.
Yeah.
And they don't have a doctor on staff. What do you think a veterinarian charges per hour? at $10 an hour? They don't. They charge in excess of over $150, $200 per hour for their services. So if they're going to come in, once or twice a week to support people who can't afford. Look, they can't afford the pet anyway, right? Why do they have a pet?
That's what I was leading to. I mean, why do they have the pets if they can't afford them? I mean,
right? They can afford to feed it, but they can't afford to do the one-time surgery on it to neuter it or spade it. I don't get that.
Yeah.
To me, it was definitely she's looking for a handout. That's what it is. Anytime you go to the government, that's what it is. I fall right through it. Lori, and guess what? If anybody's spending $50,000 doing it themselves, God bless.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, that's not on me.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, I want to be very generous with my money all year long, not just during the holiday season.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You want to, and you don't want to have to be generous at the point of a bayonet through the government, saying if you don't pay the taxes and we, for the things you really don't care about, we're going to take your house or put liens on your house and put you in debtor's prison. That's just the topics today. And
hey, Steve, would you like a Liberty and Prosperity calendar?
Well, certainly. Why not? It sounds like a terrific.
It really is. It really is a good calendar. I was reading it. How many do we have left, Chris? Four? Okay, yeah, we got some left.
Okay. What is it? Is it like it's a history calendar?
Yeah.
That's terrific. I'm a amateur history buff, if you will.
So what I'll do is we'll put you on hold. Chris is going to take your address, and I'll put it in the mail this week. Okay. Steve, thanks. Thanks a lot for the call. 609-407-1450. Some questions I can't answer, and that one I couldn't answer about the website, but that's okay. Greg and Absecon. Greg, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning again.
Yes.
As far as the calendar, I already have one.
Okay, good.
And I have about 6 different calendars, and the calendar is right up there with the other ones as far as quality. It really is. It's good. The other thing, the media and also polls, they're running neck and neck in my book. 30 years paying no attention to either one of them. But media is winning at this point. They're at about 33 years.
Yeah.
I refuse to use them for any barometer on any subject because everything is coming in screened. And even worse, and that's the media, the polls, you don't know who they question to arrive at their percentages. Don't make any sense. So I just don't pay any attention to them.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, like 2016. Oh, Donald Trump is going to lose. Remember that? He's going to lose. Okay, famous last words.
Exactly.
Greg, thanks for the...
Guess what? He won.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He's going to do it again.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't pay any attention to them.
Yeah. Well, they got him ahead this time, So.
Yeah, well, that'll be interesting.
Okay.
We're far enough away; they can do whatever they wish.
Yeah,
with the numbers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Greg, thanks for the call. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. D and AC. D, good morning.
Morning, John. Happy Saturday. I was hoping that guy would call back, John. We're waiting for him. Listen, those vets, number one, John, volunteer their time, but he wouldn't understand that. Lori had a lot of calls in support of her. A lot of people. I support the cats here. I feed a lot of strays. I feed homeless people too. Okay.
Yeah.
Now he don't want to spend his money. It doesn't come out to that much money. Now, as far as you not want to take care of them cats, I don't want to pay for his kids, John.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars that I had to pay. I don't have no kids, John.
Yeah.
I've never had kids. Okay.
Yeah.
I have paid for a couple thousand kids' education. I don't think I should have to.
No.
You have kids, you take care of them yourself, you pay for them.
That's right.
No one paid for us. I was one of 7 kids. No free stuff back then. We had to pay for our school lunches.
Yeah.
Say nothing was free, okay?
That's right.
But this property taxes, homeowners have to pay for school kids? No. As I say, you have them kids, you take care of them yourself. Have a nice day, John.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, too. Thanks a lot for the call. Okay, let's see. John in Ocean City. John, welcome back.
Yes, I'm munching on a delicious tomato in November. It's a terrible, terrible place called America. The trials and tribulations of it all, I tell you. Yeah. Your guest is a man with a real intellect. I'm not an intellectual, but I have the American privilege of being able to listen and learn from people that are smarter than I am. So it's a beautiful thing. On the other hand, people who have dismissed me as an intellectual lightweight don't have a lick of common sense.
Yeah.
So my common sense makes up for my lack of IQ points, I guess. You know, I'm an average IQ. You can have an average IQ and be smarter than people that use IQs. But anyway, the man's smart, and you know what is the truth? Because George Orwell said, in the age of universal deceit, which we live in, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. For instance, a lot of us say the election was stolen, and we come up with why we believe, and a lot of you say, no, the election wasn't stolen, and you come up with your reasons why you don't believe it was stolen, and we can argue back and forth. But I think what the man, Mr. Goloff, is presenting here is, okay, you don't know where truth is coming from, but if you can get as much information as possible and be able to discern what's being said, then you can think through it all. So that's what I think the man's trying to do. It's trying to open our minds and enlighten our minds. It's a beautiful thing. Thanks for letting me call in again. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, John. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the several calls. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Couple of open lines here. If you want to jump in before the end of the show and talk about whatever we're talking about here, got a couple of things here left to say. And we have, I think we have 3 calendars left. Yes. So if you want a calendar, Liberty and Prosperity Teaching Calendar, it is an excellent tool. And you'll see in the back of the calendar an ad for Talk with a Purpose. How about that? Of course, you'll see the other ad for the other station, but they don't count. I wanted to talk about this because, you know, it's gotten to the point where we used to say how horrible. We're talking about the mass shooting about a week ago at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and the young man who targeted some people, and a few people were killed. The White House on Wednesday hosted nearly 100 lawmakers, and they were from around the country, and they were to discuss how their states can try to better reduce gun violence. Who do you think conducted that seminar? Vice President Harris. Oh, boy, huh? Gives me confidence already. And also conducted, you ready for this? Now they have an Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Well, I don't know what they're preventing, but that's what the Biden administration has. It's a new undertaking from President Biden that has developed guidelines to help states take action. I don't know about you, but it seems like we've heard this before. How many times have we, after a mass shooting, we got to get after gun violence? This really is a terrible thing. Well, it is a terrible thing, but it continues, and it continues, and it continues, and the more they talk about it, the more nothing gets done. Well, they seem that here's what came out of this, at least in the beginning, and we don't know anymore, but they wanted a ban on assault weapons. Duh. As of Wednesday, there had been at least 42 mass killings in the U.S., leaving 217 people dead. That's this year. This year, which is just about coming to a close. 42 mass killings. That means more than one. Will this office produce any results? I don't know, but what do you think about this? This is ridiculous. Office of Gun Violence Prevention. I don't know. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We will have some final thoughts on today's holiday edition after these words.
Joe Yakovich is registered with and securities and investment advisory services are offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company. When it comes to you and your family's financial wellness, there are so many things to talk about. We could go on forever. To help guide you along the way, Joe Yakovich has written a book called The Heart of Your Money, Inspiration for Financial Wellness. In the book, Joe talks about longevity, inflation, retirement surprises, and many other topics. For your free copy of The Heart of Your Money, call the office of Joe Yakovich at JML Financial at 856-751-1771 or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com. For over 37 years, Joe Yakovich has been helping families throughout the area navigate the difficulties of a sound financial plan. You'll find Joe's approach to be different and not just the cookie-cutter methods that are prevalent in today's world. The path to your financial wellness and or retirement starts with a call to Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. 856-751-1771. 856-751-1771. Or email Joe at jyakovich@brokersifs.com.
All right, back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. We'll take a couple of final calls, I suppose. 609-407-1450. So this Office of Gun Violence, you know, I don't know. I don't know what to say. You know, it's like every time they have a shooting, there's a different spin on what they're going to do. And I don't know. Ban assault rifles, okay, but well, let's get it straight from someone who really knows, and that's DJ in Summers Point. DJ, good morning. Welcome to the show and Merry Christmas.
Same to you, John. It's been a while, about 4 or 5 weeks since I called.
Yes. Well, welcome back.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Well, this Office of Gun Violence. The Biden has started this thing, and he said it's a new undertaking, and they should ban assault rifles or assault weapons. So does this make any sense or what?
Well, all I can say about the assault weapons, people sometimes forget. 20 years ago now, they banned assault weapons for 10 years. Remember that?
Yes.
And did the American gun enthusiasts survive?
Yes.
Did they have to go into therapy because they couldn't get their assault rifle?
No.
It worked.
Yeah.
You can still go out and buy a variety of guns. Right, if you're looking for a gun, just go on the internet. You'll find any type of gun you have. But for 10 years, you can't buy that type of gun.
Yeah.
And America survived, John.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did it, but we did. You know, I'm kind of trying to be funny on this. Yeah. And what happened, the 10-year mark came up, and instead of renewing it for 5 years, 6 years, they let it lapse.
Yeah.
Bad mistake.
That's it.
Because America could have survived an assault weapon ban. They could do it now and still survive.
Yeah.
So, but that's just the way it is. When it comes to that amendment, they will not buckle.
Well, do you think that
could America survive without the assault weapons right now? The AR-15? Oh, God, yeah. Look at all the other weapons you've got at your disposal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to do something. But like every mass shooting or minor mass shooting.
Yeah.
We got to do something. We got to do something.
That's right.
And then
they don't do anything.
There you go.
Here they had a discussion at the White House. 100 lawmakers from around the country, and they're discussing this, and they say, "Well, we ought to ban assault weapons." Okay. Well, now let's see what happens with it. But bet the house that nothing's going to happen. So
that's correct.
Yeah.
It's like, there's nothing going to happen there. And just like in the House, you're talking about impeachment for Biden this time instead of Trump.
Yeah.
Do you really think it's going to happen?
No, there's no way. There's no way. Yeah, they say there's no evidence, but there's plenty of evidence, but they say there's no evidence, so, this is going nowhere. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But it's a news cycle.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Can I make a comment about one thing from Ocean City?
Yes.
Do you remember Reese Pally?
Yes.
He was that guy that, he would have put a price on something like, $1,000. You better buy it today because tomorrow the price is going up to $1,300.
Yes. Yes. I remember.
He used to move. Yeah, he could move merchandise.
Yes.
He was a great salesman.
Yes, he was.
And I look at that Ocean City thing that's going on, and hopefully they'll make a settlement. About 5 years ago, the Claus brothers, wanted to sell that land at 16th Street.
Yes.
In Ocean City, with the car deal.
Yeah.
And the city wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
For like $8.5 or $9 million. Right? And the city made them to do it. But they got opposition from the fairness and taxes people and other citizens. Right?
Yeah.
So then, so they didn't proceed. And then the city made a move to take it by eminent domain type of thing.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. And you did understand a couple of weeks ago, they had a hearing and to award the Claus brothers a fair market price, what it was today. The city would have to pay them now.
Yes.
Right? It went to almost $18 million. So now they got to find out how they're going to pay this or work out something with the Claus brothers. Right? So I'm saying, I know how to let the fairness and taxes people that stuck their nose in 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Let them pay the balance.
That's right. That's right.
But when I saw, does it think that's Reese Pally? You better buy it now because the price is going up.
Hey, DJ, thanks for the call. Thanks for the input. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And
calling you from Florida in the next few weeks.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot.
You won't believe eggs and bacon prices. They're still high.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. All of that good stuff. And have a wonderful new year. We will talk to you next year. Where did this year go? And it's going to be an interesting year. Have a great, great new year. And, we'll do it again next year. Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. You take care.
The preceding program was paid for and presented by John DeMasi.